The following review is brought to you by Red Ribbon Reviewers with promotion to the Trevor Project, wishing everyone a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season. In 1986, 2 years before Kosuke Fujishima would grace the world with the absolute masterpiece that is Oh My Goddess, he would put out the buddy cop manga You're Under Arrest, a series centered around the exploits of the Bokuto precinct of the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department, with the primary focus being on two members of the traffic division, Natsumi Sugimoto, the more impulsive one of the duo, who I honestly wouldn't blame you for confusing her for Megumi from Oh My Goddess, and Miyuki Kobayakawa, the more analytical one who often makes me think that this is probably who Skuld would grow up to be like since she's also a gearhead. In fact, it's because of their resemblances to those characters I affectionately call it the crime-busting misadventures of Megumi and Skuld. The series has spawned 3 anime series, a movie, 3 OVA series, a video game for the PlayStation 1, and a live-action TV series. The manga would also run concurrently alongside Oh My Goddess before ending in 1992, while AMG would continue until 2014. Hello everybody, I'm Zelda Ed 123, and welcome to another edition of Ed's Reviews. In the spirit of the season, I'm going to be taking a look at the Christmas episode of the first You're Under Arrest anime, Santa Claus Panic. Now for those of you watching who haven't seen the series in any shape or form, that won't be a problem. The series is for the most part episodic. The most you really need to know is that Natsumi is a rookie traffic cop, Miyuki is her partner, and they find themselves getting into plenty of perilous police problems. As long as you have that knowledge, preferably by seeing the first episode of the first OVA series, you can pretty much start watching the series at any point and not feel like you're missing anything, barring maybe episodes that make up the occasional arc or multi-parters. In fact, when the manga was first brought over to America through Dark Horse, only chapters from volumes 5, 6, and a small bit of 7 were localized. There's also episodes that introduce important characters, but I'll touch on them when they come up. That said, let's take a look at Santa Claus Panic. The episode opens with a prelude with one of the recurring kid characters, a little girl named Maho, seeing who she thinks is Santa Claus rummaging through her parents' drawers, obviously looking for stuff to steal. Her face lights up at the fact she's seeing who she thinks is the real Father Christmas.
Nice kid. Bad judge of character.
We cut to the station where everyone's getting ready for the holidays, with Miyuki already working on a gift for someone. The other girls, Aoi and Yoriko, the latter of whom you've probably seen before thanks to this meme, already deduce that it's for Kenny, the bike cop. A notion Natsumi makes even more apparent by pointing out the massive size of the sweater. Speaking of whom, the big lug is making a reservation for him and Miyuki at a restaurant for Christmas Eve to spend a romantic evening alone with her. I know Christmas isn't that big of a holiday in Japan as it is over here, but I don't think there'd really be that many places open on Christmas Eve. Quick crash course, Kenny has a crush on Miyuki and the feelings are mutual, but they're both too nervous to make the first move. It truly wouldn't be a Fujishima series without a romance stuck at a kindergarten level throughout most of it. Oh yeah, since I did mention Aoi earlier, I should probably address this. It's not really brought up in the episode itself, but since Aoi debuts in the first episode of the anime, which itself is considered episode 5 in general by being carried over from the count of the first OVA series, I know I'd get hounded for not bringing it up. I know you wouldn't think it just by looking at her, but she's a transgender woman. It's brought up in her debut that when she still identified as a man that she would go undercover as a woman to catch perverts. One thing led to another because of how seriously she would take the assignment, and she eventually realized she felt more comfortable living as a woman. If you're wondering if there's anything else that's explored about Aoi as a trans woman, outside of a later episode involving an actor who was picked to be police chief for a day, not really. Everything else regarding it is mostly relegated to jokes about how she used to be a guy, sometimes in the form of the fact that there's a certain part from her life as a man that stayed after transitioning.
The family jewels have not been stolen.
Aside from that, she's really, really sweet. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if that part of her character had an influence on Fujishima creating Belle Dandy. After some fun at Miyuki's expense, she and Natsumi go on patrol with Miyuki asking her what she wants for Christmas.
Oh, you want to know?
Well, maybe on second thought.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm going to tell you anyway. This Christmas is going to be the best with the Chief and I. A romantic dinner for two.
Oh yeah, early in the show's run, Natsumi had a thing for the chief. Unfortunately for her, he's going to be working on Christmas Eve. They soon meet up with Maho and the other kids standing outside of a toy store talking about what they'll be getting for Christmas. This now brings me to one of the interesting things about this dub. The company behind it, Coastal Studios, brought on actual children to voice any and all child characters. This practice is usually something that's strongly advised against, primarily because, with exception to something like Peanuts, the times where it's actually worked in a production's favor are few and far between. It's one of the main reasons why you'll usually have adult female VAs take on the roles of young boys, because they normally have more general acting experience than a child. This, however, is one of those rare instances where having a kid voice a kid actually works.
Is Santa Claus a bad man, Miyuki? My house and Santa was at her house last night. I don't think Santa Claus is a very nice man.
Miyuki notices that Maho isn't really in the Christmas mood and decides to talk with her. Maho tells her more about what happened in the prelude about when who she thought was Santa robbed her family. When you hear Maho talk about that night, you can actually believe that her perception of a beloved holiday figure was shattered by this heartless excuse of a man masquerading as Saint Nick, and the fact she was voiced by an actual little girl just sells it in a way that I honestly don't think an adult voice actress could. You'd know that after recording she still doesn't believe in Santa Claus. Maho's VA, on the other hand, probably did believe in the big guy after recording.
I'll see you real soon, Santa Claus.
Oh, shh.
Bye-bye, Santa Claus.
He took everything.
Santa took all Mommy's jewelry and my daddy's money, too.
Man, if I ever see the guy who made Maho cry, I'd have a few choice words for him. Like, you, and, are, and, a jerk!
Miyuki assures Maho that who she saw wasn't the real Santa, and that she and Natsumi will apprehend this mock Mikulas, complete with Natsumi making this hilariously overdramatic declaration.
A crook impersonating Santa Claus? I won't stand for it! Destroying the dreams of children for personal gain? Oh, I'll avenge the children!
Santa, you're awesome!
Thank you very much.
They soon receive a report from Detective Tokuno about a series of robberies, with the only thing tying them together was that the perp was wearing a Santa Claus outfit, giving Natsumi and Miyuki the idea that he's the monster who robbed sweet little Maho's family! Despite Tokuno's insisting that this is meant for the people who specialize in burglary cases, he ultimately grants them permission to investigate, which leads to this gem of a line from Natsumi.
He sure cleaned them out. Cash, jewelry, antiques, toys, a lamp, underwear, even stole the Christmas turkey.
It's not long before Yoriko calls in about a fake Santa sighting, which they proceed to check out, and it leads to them once again running into the series' funniest character, Strike Man. Oh boy, how do I properly explain this guy without potentially blowing the video's runtime? Think the Tick if he had a baseball gimmick, was even crazier, and didn't have Arthur to balance him out. Look, I know he's calling himself the Santa Claus Man, but it's the only disguise more paper thin than Team Rocket's, so there's really no point in pretending that it's not him. Hell, at least they put in some effort to hide the fact it's them. Though at times I think they put in too much effort. Even ignoring the prelude, you can probably guess this isn't the synthetic Sinterklaas Maho saw that night. But they know they can't just let him get away with his usual brand of lunacy. However, it'll have to wait because the Santa sneak thief has struck again. Now they have to deal with two bogus Babo Natales. After receiving the report of Strike Man sending a woman into shock by kissing her, we get this little exchange.
Are you saying that Santa Claus Man and Strike Man are the same person? Cause if you are, he's right behind you.
Ho, ho, ho!
They give chase throughout the city, but he ultimately loses them. All while singing Here Comes Santa Claus.
Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus!
However, Natsumi and Miyuki finally find the knockoff Kanakoloka who's been robbing people and pursue him until he ditches them in a mist of street corner Santas. They should be lucky SantaCon wasn't a thing yet, otherwise they'd be screwed. Natsumi and Miyuki return to the station to rethink their strategy of catching this decoy dead malos, and they have to act fast as Miyuki points out that after Christmas Eve, which is tomorrow, his MO won't work. It's an all-hands-on-deck moment as everyone's deployed to find the Kreiskind Kraxman. While Kenny still has Miyuki's ear, he decides then and there to finally ask Miyuki on a Christmas Eve date, only for Natsumi to prank him.
Tsujimoto! Nothing! There's nothing really! What a loser I am!
What a loser.
Meanwhile, in a random park, the Raucross Rustler is enjoying a smoke before the next house he hits. But there's one thing he didn't count on.
You know, you're in a lot of trouble, my friend. You are out of control.
Natsumi and Miyuki arrive to see that Strike Man got to the Highwayman Hotel show first by burying him in garbage.
As a fellow North Polar, I simply cannot allow you to go uncastigated.
So, we meet again, Strikeout Man.
You know how many times I am Santa Claus? You don't?
Hey, look! It's Elvis in a UFO!
No, not again!
So with that distraction, Miyuki unveils what we already knew, and Strike Man flees the scene. The Papa Noel Purloina wakes up and tries to make a break for it, but it's nothing a trash can to the head can't stop. So they apprehend him with the realization that Strike Man actually helped them with doing the right thing, even if he wasn't exactly doing it for the right reasons. They not only return the stuff stolen from Maho's parents, but they also decide to have Kenny play Santa for her, and what follows is a scene that's so wholesome, nothing I can say could do it justice.
Are you Santa Claus?
Huh?
The real Santa Claus?
That's right, little girl. I'm the real Santa Claus.
So you got the bad one?
Oh, yes. That bad fake Santa Claus can't do any more harm. And since you've been such a good little girl, I'm giving you this special present. Just for you.
Thank you, Santa.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, and always be a good little girl.
I will. Oh, wow, a teddy bear. Thank you, Santa Claus.
Unfortunately for Kenny, this little restoring the good name of a beloved holiday figure to a child killed his plans for a Christmas Eve dinner. However, Miyuki gives him the sweater she made for him, and you can see it really means a lot to the big guy. Probably a lot more than that dinner would have.
Dear Santa, did you forget about my true love? I'm still waiting.
Don't worry, Natsumi. One day your Bobby boyfriend will come. I'd say give it about 27 episodes. So that was the You're Under Arrest episode, Santa Claus Panic, and if there was an episode I could recommend as a jumping on point for the anime, obviously aside from the first OVA series that the show takes place after, I would absolutely recommend this one, even if it's not necessarily Christmas time. In fact, my first time seeing this episode wasn't even anywhere near Christmas. To me, this episode has the perfect blend of action, comedy, and general wholesomeness. So this has been Zeldad 123, and I'll see you when I see ya.
Maji de 語るには難しく時代は突き進んで